we do want to go ahead and get started. I want to just say something. I hadn't bounced this off of anybody else, but I'd really encourage you when it comes to social media, depending on where you are with your own comfort level about it. And so this is a two-part recommendation. If you're a business owner and you have some sort of different generations of your family that are involved in your locally owned business, I encourage you to engage some of the younger generation in your organization. I would not say to hand over your social media passwords to your grandchildren or to your 25-year-old associate, although I'm sure they're fully capable. But I'd not necessarily recommend that. But I would say it's a great way to engage other segments of your business, since that 18 to 25-year-old is just so familiar and so comfortable with social media that if you are not, then you may want to engage them just to get an education and maybe to help other generations in your family engage in your business in a meaningful way. So don't turn over the password and let them do everything with your business and take it over on social media, but do engage them to learn and familiarize yourself with social media. So as we continue to talk about social media, and we touched on it before, ROI, it's one of those really important things. This is not a free media. You are going to need to put time and energy and effort and possibly even revenue into driving it and making it work. So how to get ROI on social media and online marketing is hugely important to everybody here who's thinking about it thoughtfully. And Nhat Pham is with us to help you understand and make that happen in a meaningful way. So Nhat is a managing partner at SUCCESSWERKS, that is WERKS, SUCCESSWERKS Media Solutions. And he's a managing partner there that company is here in Richmond, Virginia. He is a social media advocate and strategist who helps entrepreneurs, sales professionals, and business executives develop and grow their operations using social networking and online tools. He does it through workshops, that is WERK shops, webinars, and private coaching. Nhat is a published author, a regular speaker, and a trainer on the topic of new media, social networking, and relationships marketing. Nhat delivers keynote presentations to organizations and trains people, executives, entrepreneurs, and other speakers on how to leverage the power of technology and social media. He's consulted with professionals from startup organizations all the way up to executives at large corporations such as T-Mobile and AT&T. Nhat conducts a weekly interactive web-based program that I encourage you to participate in called the Road Warrior Show, which is www.roadwarriorshow.com. In this program, he answers questions and gives tips and discuss topics on tools and technology for success in the air and on the road. So if there's something you're not able to get in front of him now, or you think of something later, please engage him through that platform. Nhat is a member of the National Speakers Association and National Association of Management Consultants. Please welcome Nhat Pham. Thank you, Nhat.
Thank you. A billion people on Facebook, 500 million on Twitter. I say to you, who cares? How are you going to get an ROI on social media? Not just a return on investment, but a return on influence, a return on impact. My name is Nhat Pham, and I want to share with you some ideas and concepts that's made a lot of our clients and some case studies at large that's been really helpful and gotten ROIs. Folks ask, Nhat, how do you get all these Twitter follows? I got 10,000 plus. I get to speak at these and tell you to follow me, okay? So at Nhat Pham, Thomas mentioned before, we didn't have a hashtag, so one of my staff created one, SM Pham, so sorry, so self-serving. So how do you get a ROI on social media? First, I want to share with you about telling your story. Because no matter what you're doing, you're really telling your story. And what is your compelling story? At SUCCESSWORKS, we say, tell your story, share your passion, and serve the world. So my story started as a refugee from Vietnam. I came over here in 1975. So if you saw the airlifts on any PBS specials, that wasn't me. I was actually one of the boat people, okay? But it was during that historic time. And fast forwarding a little bit, I was always been in sales and marketing. And I was fascinated by the internet since the early 90s, okay? And a technology nut. And it's in the last decade that these two had an opportunity to really fuse together. And being a people person, I got on Classmates in 1995. Anybody remember Classmates.com? Okay, 1995, okay? Plaxo, it's still around, but almost non-existent as far as most of you are concerned. And then I became a family guy. And I know English is my second language, but that is how you spell family, okay? But with that, I realized there's a high-tech and high-touch nature, okay? What we do here, and then what we do to get online, sustains that conversation. How many folks here hit it off with somebody at a conference or something and don't talk again for 6 months, a year afterwards? Anybody? Me included, okay? So with that, what I want you to do for the next 30 seconds is find somebody you don't know around you, okay, and introduce yourself. Get their card, their emails, their Twitter ID, whatever the case may be, so that you can sustain this conversation afterwards. Do it right now. All right, it's a Vietnamese 30 seconds, so we got to wrap up in 5. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you're with me, go shh. Help me out, everybody. Shh. That's engagement, live engagement. Shh. Okay, one more time. Everybody, shh. Awesome, thank you. So that was introduction, okay? So this is the agenda. And actually, if you had, speaking of introductions, if you had an opportunity to meet my Aunt Penny, can you raise your hand real quick? Yeah. You can see the resemblance, right? The blonde lady right over there. But that there is the high touch piece, okay? We're going to talk about how to carry it high tech. All right, we're going to talk also about the 5 M's. We're going to talk about case studies, both national and local. What are going to be some of the takeaways out of this? And what are the best practices? All right, and by the way, for those that are here, if you hand me your business card afterward, or if for some reason you have to leave early, be still my heart. Hand it off to one of the folks up front, and we'll send you a best practice guide as well, okay, a little short tool for you, okay, and then questions afterwards. All right, where are your customers' touch point? It's everything from their e-newsletter, your branded content, blog, and so forth, all right, and all the social platforms, of course. Now, the key thing about your digital campaign is, what is your consumer purchase funnel, or if you're a B2B person, right? It starts off with awareness. Then consideration, which involves all the SEO and viral marketing. Then it gets down to their preference. Purchase is what we're all seeking for. Retention, how do you keep them, right? I think one of the questions in the very first session was, there's a lot of folks who come into the restaurant, but they don't stick, they don't come back, all right? And then even more powerful is advocacy. Who's your raving fans, if you will? This is the social media conversation prism, if you will, by Brian Solis. And he's done a remarkable job of showing all the different things, right? All the different areas, everything from Flickr and social network and everything like that. That's all nice and pretty up there, but I want to tell you, it all boils down to one thing, and that's relationships. Okay? Even if you're a true online marketer, it boils down to that relationship. And how do you nurture those relationships? How do you nurture the relationships that you just met here? Is it high on your priority list? Or is that something that you can deal with later? Okay? But the powerful thing about this social media prism, or the conversation prism, is you get to really know your market and understand your market. And we'll talk about that in the 5 M's. So when it comes to getting into social media and really making it successful and getting a return on impact, okay, it's about commitment, all right? For you guys out there, I feel your pain, okay? Commitment is a tricky thing, all right? For any entrepreneur, it's a tricky thing because it's gonna involve time. Yes, it's free platform, but it's definitely an investment in your time and energy. So one of the things we always say is strategy before tactics. Strategy before tactics. Because a lot of us jump in, forgot, hey, what do we post? What do we tweet? And I say, hey, let's back up a minute, all right? All those things are important, but how are you gonna approach this? And I talk about the 5 M's: mission, message, market, method, and metrics. First, mission. Picture of Simon Sinek, Start With Why. Anybody have seen his video or read his book? Great. So he says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So keep that in mind, because this is going to help you build your tribe, as Seth Godin would say. All right? People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. The second part is, why do you want to be on social media? Is it for awareness? Is it for data acquisition? Is it for lead generation? What we just talked about, building relationships, adoption, sales. Here's some other finite things that you can look for as well, whether it's to raise brand awareness, research. You can do all these things, crowdsource, drive site traffic, and ultimately increase sales. But defining that mission, what is your clear strategy? What are you in it for? Some folks are there just to brand. And that's their return on influence. They don't even measure, even though I think you should ultimately, where the sales are coming from, and is it coming from social media? Some folks are gauging it by likes, engagement. And my favorite, I think, talking about this with Seth's big one, my favorite is actually shares. I'm all about shares because the average person has a reach of 250 people. Okay? So how are you getting that word out? Because when they share it, it's much more powerful than when you share it, right? Okay. Listen and understand the conversation before you engage. Okay? You have a huge opportunity to do that with all the tools out there. And the way you can do that is monitoring, because it's an always-on conversation. All right? It's happening with you or without you. My favorite analogy is Pareto's principle. The way you do that is scanning 80% of the time the relationships that matter most. And the rest of the 20%, scanning the other part. Okay? How do we do that? How many folks here, and by the way, that thing didn't cut off, I always go to black when I need your attention. So how do we do that? Anybody remember the show Get Smart? Okay, I know which demographics are my age and which one are not, okay? Well, for those who don't, there was this thing, okay, called the cone of silence. You ever remember the cone of silence? Except in social media, it really works, okay? It gives you an opportunity to listen, but listen louder, okay? It gets amplified to you. And so use those tools. There was the list from Twitter, right? A lot of folks on Facebook say, I see all this stuff from baby stuff and things I don't care about. You can quiet the noise, because it's noisy, right? Okay. There are times I have a list of just family. scan in every once in a blue moon, all right? I got a list that says clients. One time I remember, before I called a client who I was trying to get more work from, I realized he was in the Outer Banks. So instead of calling him, I waited. He got back, said, how was your trip to Outer Banks? He probably didn't remember if I talked to him about it or not, but it just helped break the ice and get things going, and it didn't waste his time going through another voicemail that he had, right? Okay, who's your market? Okay, who's your market? And here's the beautiful thing about social media. You can really know your market. For instance, did you realize LinkedIn, how many folks on LinkedIn? Okay, you can find me, of course, /Nhat Pham. Connect me with you there. The average user on LinkedIn is 41 years old with, get this, $110,000 in income. Woo! That's your return on influence, right? What about Facebook? Your average user is now 35 and above, all right? That's why all the kids are leaving in droves, all right? Going into Twitter and Instagram. The average income there is $55,000. Now here's one I love, YouTube. What is your YouTube market? I'll give you the income first on this one. $75,000 average income. Anybody want to take a gander why? I learned the gander down south, by the way. Take a gander. Yes. Pardon? Say. They can do videos, but why is the income $75,000, you think? All right, since we're short on time, I'll give you hints. What do you need to have a good experience on YouTube? Good equipment. What else? Fast internet, right? What does it take to have fast internet? Money, right? So that's why your income bracket's a little higher. So have thought about a YouTube strategy, okay? Now, a lot of folks say, oh, all these kids, and you got Gangnam Style, and no, I'm not him. But what about real content, right? My mom watches hours and hours of content, okay? She's 70. Just thank God you don't have to be IT support for my mom, because the translation is very difficult, okay? She was, oh, real quick aside. I got a phone call from my mom. Middle of a meeting, ignore. Mom calls again. All right, ignore. Third time, Mr. Jones, I'm sorry, this is my mom's third time. She never calls it that. Mom, what's up? I'm translating here. Mom, what's up? My YouTube's down. Huh? Yeah, my YouTube's down. You gotta do something. And you know, it's a flash player or something like that. So she has the Vietnamese Rachel Ray, okay? She's sitting there cooking, nowhere near as dynamic, but I say, Mom, you know how to cook, but I like her twist on it. Okay? 7 years old woman, just avid YouTube watcher. Okay? Because they can find it in their language, okay? So know your tribes. You can find it so much easier online now. Sites like Alexa.com. That one's not up there. Alexa.com. That means you can put pen to paper. Alexa.com. Just FYI. How do users spend their time? There it is right there. Okay? Yeah, pretty outstanding. I believe the last statistic I saw was Facebook users' average time was 33 minutes per session. 33 minutes per session. And over half of them log on multiple times a day. Okay? Now you know why your work fertility is down. All right, no, but that is the value, because there's so much time spent on it. The key thing is knowing where you should spend it, okay, and where your audience is. All right, next is your message, okay? What is your message? What are you trying to say to folks? What's your story? All right, that's what I really want to encourage you to do, because all the great folks, all the great companies do a great job telling their story. All right, we're going to talk about some of them here in a little bit, including Zappos and others. And then once you get your story and all your message beyond the sales and promotions, how are you going to get it out there? When are you going to get it out there? We try to put a calendar together so that people remember when they need to post what. Right now, we're past the whole back-to-school tax stuff. We're looking at Labor Day, Halloween, all those things already, okay? And how to post those things. And there's a national month for everything, okay? Everything. So what is your month? Plan those things out, all right? We'll talk about dashboards as well. I know Thomas talked about Hootsuite earlier. We got one that we really like on steroids. I know we're a little biased, but it's ours. Also, decide how you want to respond, okay? Decide how you want to respond. A lot of folks choose to just ignore it. I don't agree with that. If you get to the point where you got a lot of messages just coming in, right, how do you deal with them? All right. Sometimes we actually help manage folks' social media hand in hand. Some we do all of it, some we just kind of train people up to a certain point, and sometimes our favorite is to walk together. And one of our clients, Puritan Cleaners, we monitored really diligently and sent them, hey, a heads up. And Dane does a great job with their social media, instantly reaches out and says, we apologize for your issue. Or the guy came on their Facebook page, by the way, and said, bottom line, y'all suck. All right. Long other stuff, but you did a bad job. Dane says, we apologize, and he reached out offline, because he had his picture there, so that helped. Twitter makes it a little bit more difficult. Reaches out, and just stops the conversation. So by the way, if you have a negative comment or something like that, get it offline, okay? Get it offline if you can. We had a builder, a very large builder from another state. It was actually in a forum, which is also social, but the title of it said, as a builder, cracked concrete. Yeah, you don't see the rest of it, but it just said cracked concrete, right, when you Googled their name. That ain't good, right? Get off, because they kept on feeding the Google juice, as we call it. And it just kept going and getting stronger. The only thing they didn't bump was their homepage. Everything else, their PR stuff, it bumped. So what we had to do is say, stop! And they stopped, okay? Take it offline. They handled the situation, and then we blitzed it with blogs and getting their Twitter up and their Facebook, so it's really strong, and it's now at least second page, if not maybe third page, okay? So how are you going to deal with it? But back to the Puritan folks, they handled it, and the next day, and I'm not guaranteeing you everybody's going to do this, but the next day, the guy goes, oh my gosh, Puritans is awesome. They paid for my shirt, gave me my cleaning for free. Kudos. You couldn't beat the PR on that one, right? So figure out how you're going to respond, all right? I encourage you to take anything negative offline. Deal with it, address it, be honest and sincere that you messed up, but take it offline. Of course, be authentic. Okay? Be real. And be transparent if you can. I'm pretty transparent online. That's just how I've dealt with in the internet for years now. So, but definitely be authentic. Be you. Don't try to mimic others. Model others, but don't mimic others. Okay, next is method. Okay? Now that you know your mission, particularly your market, and your message, where are you going to put all this information, okay? Do you start with webinars, okay? Is it email? Is it the social networks and forums, which we just talked about? Big on the website side. And by the way, I'm not going to talk a whole about mobile, and we've been doing this a lot for our clients lately. If you are not mobile ready, you really need to be. We see as high as 30% mobile traffic, okay? So if you're sitting there pinching and pulling on website to find things, you're not mobile ready, okay? Things like restaurants and apartments is well above 50% mobile traffic, all right? And this is going to go stratosphere in the next couple of years. Okay. How are you going to get all this information out? Is it through Twitter? Is it Facebook? Some folks can do a great job with only a couple of networks. Restaurants in particular can do a great job with only 2 or 3. Some folks feel they need a much wider breadth, okay? I encourage, if you don't have a lot of bandwidth, focus on 2 or 3, okay? Maybe 4. Google Plus is kind of one that's creeping up just because of social search you got to address, okay? Use dashboards and other tools. So you've heard of Hootsuite. This is ours on steroids. If you want a trial of it, reach out to me, and one of my staff members will hook you up with a 30-day trial. But use tools to distribute this, okay? There's powerful software, some very cost-effective, okay? Evaluate, what is your time worth? The last of the 5 M's, metrics. I hear so many folks say, my social media isn't working. And I ask them, well, what are you measuring? Oh, I don't know. My business is not going up. All right. What are the key indicators to help your business go up? All right. How do you track that? I see folks, if their likes go up, things change. Or if there's a reason behind it, meaning, is there a coupon? If their likes going up and there's a coupon, they should be getting some more traffic. Okay? Is their shares going up? Is their engagement going up? All right. You saw some of the analytics with Seth a little bit earlier on the insights. I'll show you a couple of them. This is actually Mekong's restaurant. Anybody been to Mekong before? For you? That's how I met my my Twitter buddy, Thomas, over there. Okay, one of the ways. But if you look at these demographics, you can really see these things change. Now, this is a slightly old slide, but check this out. 52% female, and look at this. Rough math, about 48%, almost half above 35. Okay. How does it tie into your Google Analytics? Are you driving traffic back to your website? Okay. That's key. If a lot of your information or your landing pages and other pertinent content are on your website, you got to measure that sucker, okay? And like many of the tools, Google Analytics is my mom's favorite word, free, okay? So use it. Get somebody to install it onto your website. All right, the secret sauce. How do you make it work? How do you, what I call, be enchanting? I brought it from Guy Kawasaki, Guy something. Is it Kawasaki? Yeah, Guy Kawasaki in his book, Enchantment. But here's my little spin on it. Here are 5 key things, the 5 F's, if you will, okay? When I started speaking, I had a friend said the 3 F's, and I expanded on it. First, be fractious. Okay? If you're saying what everybody else is saying, you're just one of the people in the noise. Okay? What's your contrarian point of view? Okay? What's the message that's going to make you stand out? How are you different? How are you unique? But you can't be just fractious to be fractious. You need to be factual. Okay? And the statistics, infographics lately has been a huge thing. All right? If you don't know what infographics is where you have all these numbers in a pretty picture, and they can get that information in a snapshot. Of course, funny always works, right? Beyond a little cute picture of the kitty with a funky fruit on his head or something. Famous, right? If you're famous, and here's the thing, you don't need to be mega famous. You might be able to borrow some micro celebrities. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And what was always cool is if you're first. If you're first. Before the media really got on, I got on in 2008. And I remember I would always try to beat the media to the punch. I remember was it the duck race, Big Brothers Big Sisters? I'd be sitting there, and the winner is, as soon as they said it, I tuned it out, okay? Another one was when one of the conventions or whatnot here was going to have a speaker come in, and everybody was kind of anticipating a little bit. And it was Bill Rancid of The Apprentice, the first winner. And I put it out there, and I didn't think much of it, but I was the first one to put it out there, and they're like, is he still with the Donald? Oh my gosh, is he still single? All these things. I was like, who knew people cared so much about Bill Rancid? All right? So that started to give me followers, but it had to deal with business. So how do you tie your business but have a little bit of fun with it as well? Okay? So those are some of the images. Next, don't suck. Okay? The way you don't suck is you don't do, you do the things on the front end. But Tom has said it before, read your tweet and ask yourself, is this interesting? The reason I have this guy, if anybody, I'm a big sports guy too. This is Jim Rome of the Jim Rome Show. And he always says, have a take and don't suck. Online and offline, okay? That's what I say. And which reminds me of another point. A lot of folks say, Nhat, social media is great, I gotta get on this. Like, is there a time when you shouldn't get on social media? I say, yeah. When you suck. When your business isn't that good. Okay, I've had that situation before. I said, stop, you can't do this. Your reputation is horrid. Because if you suck offline, you're gonna suck online. The difference is people gonna find out faster, okay? So fix stuff internally first if you don't have a good reputation. And if you're a restaurant, it's easy between Yelp, Urban Spoon, TripAdvisor, plethora of others. Be compelling. Be compelling. Why should they listen to you? This was actually for Army a couple years ago. We did a little video of Peter Larson talking about the $10,000 ads, and you can win an iPad and those type of things. So be compelling, okay? Give them a reason, a compelling reason, not just 10% off. It depends on what it is. I guess it could be big, but you know, is it worth printing, or is it worth really going after? You got to really ask yourself, and probably somebody other than you, because you think, oh my God, 10%. I had a client like, that's 10%. Yeah, and ask your tribe. Ask your tribe, especially if you have folks who really love you. This is my friend Jim Roman. He's a coach, a business coach, business strategist. And a few years ago, I was trying to get him on. I said, people love you, Jim. Just get stuff out that's interesting. And I couldn't quite convey it at the time. And then finally he did something really cool. Him and his wife, Kathy, decided to just go on vacation for a week. And they would just go to random places in driving distance. And they would put it out there, hey, we're going to Virginia Beach. Where should we go? He didn't get an engagement before, but now it's 22 plus people tell him where he should go. And then he would take pictures like that of what they had, what wine, what foods, and got a ton of engagement. And you're asking, but Nat, did that matter? Did that do anything? Well, I asked him that. Well, that was pretty cool. The only thing I didn't like about it was I didn't think of it myself. But I asked him, is anything transpired since then, though? He goes, yeah. Actually, one of the folks we've been talking to for a long time finally called me up and said, hey, I saw your post about your trip. That was pretty cool. By the way, I've been meaning to do something. Let's do it now. Okay. Sometimes we just need your customers' mind share to get their wallet share. Okay? See some people right now. I'll say it again. Sometimes you need folks' mind share to get their wallet share. Okay. How are you going to get their mind share? Because we're bombarded by 2,000 to 3,000 messages a day. Right? How do you be top of mind? All right. The other way you can be great online, and we've discovered the folks who really do well with us, our best clients, are either elite, unique, or boutique. Yes, we came up with that one. I kind of like that myself. Elite, unique, or boutique. Okay? So, elite. What's that car? Lexus, right? Everybody recognizes, represents elite. What's that little blue box, ladies? Of course. is their diamonds really that much better? Really? I mean, if it's the same E clarity or whatever, is it that much better? No. It's the perception of elite, right? It's that little blue box. It's like that Hallmark thing. Shows that you cared enough. All right? Puritan cleaners, okay? We talked about them before. They're not the cheapest guy in town. But they've been voted the best cleaners for, I don't know, so many years. I love them. They send me, I put my clothes in at about 8 a.m. I get an email by like 11 a.m. saying it's done. I'm like, how the heck do you do that? It's pretty cool. I can get text alerts, all those things, and they do great stuff for the community and really put themselves on that elite platform. Are you unique? All right? Like Tom's, they do the 1-for-1. You buy a pair of shoe, they give a pair of shoe. Okay, that's pretty unique. All right? Here locally, not one of our clients, but really becoming a good colleague and a great person to bounce things off of is Mark Smith of Midas. And how many folks let you give a pint of blood and get a free oil change? Okay? That's pretty unique. All right? How are you making yourself unique? And when you do those things, people will talk about it online, will share about it online. All right? Again, let me go back to this one real quick. Remember what I talked about Simon Sinek? Right? People don't care what you do. They care why you do it. All right, Be Boutique, REI. Love that shop. Okay? I've gotten really big into fitness lately and been running and doing this paddleboard stuff. And so I'm digging all the equipment in there, but it's very for outdoors folks and very boutique. Okay? And been working out at a place called Goal Sport Specific Training. It's designed really for high-end athletes that are trying to get a scholarship, or folks who are collegiate athletes trying to go pro. Their slogan is scholarship or contract. All right, so it's boutique. So if you're just going there just to do your thing and maybe lose a pound or two, they don't want you. Okay, they literally say, sorry, you're not for us, because we're pretty intense, and they are. I mean, I lost 27 pounds so far, and just crazy stuff. Okay. Thought that was impressive, but I guess y'all didn't. All right. How do you do that on a national scale? How do you do it like on a platform called Twitter? And you may say, I got too much going on. Yeah, no, I need to delegate. You might, and I'm not saying you shouldn't delegate it, but here's an example of Tony Hsieh, Zappos. Billion-dollar company, or got sold to Amazon by a billion-dollar company, but he still runs it. He does their Twitter. He does their Twitter. And you won't see one thing on a sale or promotion. By the way, anybody's ordered anything from Zappos before? Raise your hands. Okay. Pretty good customer service, huh? Right? So they've gone to that elite, unique concept. The other part is, hey, how do you tell your story? How do you share that passion and ultimately serve the world? You can do it. Look at brands like Apple and when Steve Jobs was around. Okay? People love that story. Oprah, she's built an amazing empire. Okay? Not only from TV, but print, her own network, and multitude of other programming. Because she's able to tell that story and share that passion. So you're saying, how does that apply to bigger business and small business? Well, Mark Cuban, right, has really done a great job of raising his brand and telling his story. He'll post pictures like when the Dallas Mavericks won the NBA championship a few years ago, and all the little nuances that he does and quotes and what made him successful. But you're saying, whoa, that's Mark Cuban. He's bigger than life, all that. You got Ellie Venafro, though, who right here in Midlothian, with Tots on the Go, has a few thousand followers, not, Mark Cuban, but still drives a ton of traffic. And she has an opportunity to tell her story of how she couldn't find the seats and things that she wanted when she had her 3 kids. Okay? And it was all about that story. And she's done a phenomenal job of creating her business, building her business, and getting advocates for her business. So I encourage you to, yes, understand some of those technical best practices, but ultimately in the day, what is your story? From there, and you get all those things intact, you can think about talking about that call to action. And yes, by the way, you need those temporary things with the coupons and promotions and the ads and whatnot. At the same time, if you're thinking long term, those are the things that has helped successful brands, okay, locally and nationally. But ultimately, you need a call to action. It could be a simple action as, hey, like my page and you get something, okay? There could be other actions besides a purchase. Hey, download something, all right? We're working on a new landing page. If you fill out some information, you get different guides, whether it's our Twitter guide or our social media best practice guides. Subscribing to newsletters, contact sales team, update your profile, whatever it is, okay? Make that call to action. And it may be a little action. I remember my sales manager years ago said to me, little yeses leads to big yeses. Little yeses leads to big yeses, so get a little yes first, okay? It's kind of like dating. It's like you haven't even gone on a date, guys, and you want to kiss, right? No, you got to get to little yeses first. All right. And then all these things, how do all these things tie together? Big one that you need to think about beyond the social media side, which is important, is the mobile side. Again, mobile traffic is going stratosphere, okay? Don't have a ton of time to really get into that. I can answer some questions afterwards. If you have any other questions, again, roadwarriorshow.com, Mondays at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Lastly, let me give you this last case study on how all this wraps up. One of the only clients that we have that's elite, unique, and boutique. See, because if you have one, that's cool. If you have two, wow. If you have all three, you should knock it out of the ballpark. All right? So this is our one that does all three. So when they opened 18 years ago, they wanted to become really the go-to place for craft beer, especially in the late 90s. And Boy, the co-owner with his brother, had a really passion for beer because the wine just didn't work for him. And he started building and building it. And about 5 years ago, I said, hey, this is an opportunity to really get a head start. I want you to not build just a brand, but build your personal brand along with it. So I called him the CBO, the Chief Beer Officer, okay? Because he's not CEO at all, if anybody here has met him. But he is the Chief Beer Officer. And we revolved his personal brand around it as well. And he had an opportunity now to tell his story, okay? Particularly on Facebook, a little bit on Twitter, but mostly on Facebook and his YouTube channel where we had On's Beer TV. All right, you still find it, it's hilarious. All right, and then he was able to build that tribe with conversation, dialogue, and reflecting on his own personality as much as the food and the beer. So what happened? What was the outcome? They currently have over 13,000 likes on their page. They were voted the best beer bar in America by craftbeer.com. Okay? We estimated it was about $250,000 to $500,000 in publicity because everybody picked it up from Bloomberg to all the local news outlets here, right? Times Dispatch as well. So from just having bottled beers 5 years ago, now they have 52 taps. Okay, just taps, all right? 200-300 beers at least, all right? Astronomical engagement numbers on Facebook and a cult following, absolutely unmatched. We look at the back-end analytics, remember that Seth showed you? When we share the craftbeer.com link out there, the first post got 17,000 click-throughs because clearly it was shared. The second one got 14,000 click-throughs. Okay? The shares was astronomical. All right? So, in the end, he says, great job, Nhat. Oh, shucks. All right? So, But the big thing, though, is we had to go back and talk about his story, right? And really share his passion for the beer and the food, all right? And that's how he served his world. Because his mission is for that moment when you're at the table at the bar, you don't think about anything else. You're enjoying the company of the person next to you. Whether they could be a landscaper right by you or a doctor, which has happened before when I've sat there, all talking about one common thing. Okay? So, before I go to questions real quickly, that's my email. Yes, I still do that. And I do accept calls, so there's my contact information. Everything is at NatFam. Okay, if you're looking for me, except for YouTube, some guy in Vietnam got NatFam. I don't know how he did that. By the way, I'll share that tool. It's already in the tool kit later on. So, Road Warrior Show, 9 a.m. If you have any other questions, you can just type it in. My friend and colleague, Sean Francis, the Digital Knight, he does more of the technical IT stuff. I do all the social media, online marketing stuff. So let me go back. Questions? Y'all just want lunch, huh? No, there's one over there.
If you're reaching, the people that you're reaching are an older demographic and you want to change that, what would you suggest?
What's your business? Your name is?
Linda Dunn. I'm a volunteer for the Richmond Symphony Orchestra.
Linda Dunn, Richmond Symphony Orchestra lead. Okay. Do you have a younger demographic at all?
We're trying to get a younger demographic. People who go to symphony are older, the board members of our league are older, and we want to bring young people in. So
Okay.
what would you suggest?
So the question is, she's with the Richmond Symphony, and you said Linda, right? Linda says, how do I get to a younger demographic? How do I reach that? You're going to have to do a couple of things. Maybe start smaller. Again, I used to coach basketball, so I always say work everything from the inside out, okay? Before all this run and gun stuff that they have now. Work from the inside out and find a group of folks who are passionate and build that, okay? You got to build your tribe slower. It's going to be a little bit tougher road to go with that. But is there any micro celebrities that are able to do that, okay? Meaning, there's people who are kind of popular, who have large circles, who have maybe 1,000, 2,000 friends that can kind of start that movement for you, okay? How do you tie in macro celebrities that like classical music in that genre possibly, okay? I think there's going to be some important creative that you need to look at to be able to tap into that audience, okay? Because if you look at that younger demographic, what do they listen to? It needs to pop. How do you reach their emotion, okay? How do you make it emotional for them? All right? I think that's the critical thing, because for an older audience, and as I get older, I get a more appreciation for the symphony and classical music and those type of things. How do you stir that emotion? How do you tap into it? And I think that involves some more creative, but I would say the biggest one is finding people in that demographic to start with. Okay? Yes, sir.
This has been very informative and helpful. I wanted to know if the presenters would be sending out these slideshows to us so we can go back over and reinforce what we've learned today.
I believe they are. Floyd is saying yes. And again, if you reach out to me, there's some bonus slides I didn't get a chance to include because I knew time was going to be an issue, and also to get a best practice guide as well. Okay, so I'll be here a little bit afterwards if you want to give me your card or hand them out at the door. Others? Going once, going twice, 3 times the lady. So with that, I want to close real quick. To ask you to connect with me on LinkedIn, friend me on Facebook, circle up on Google+, pin on Pinterest. Follow me at NatFam or at SuccessWorks on Twitter, DM or mention me. I promise I'll follow you back until I see you online. Be successful and stay social.
Thank you, Nat. Great job. Thank you very much.
My pleasure.
Please do stick around just for 2 more minutes. We have some more things we want to give away, include a really meaningful digital marketing packages, so we hope you can take advantage of that. Let's see, Floyd, I'm just going to dive right in here so we can get going.
Yeah, we've got...
Because there may be half of the people gone. So Kevin Hughes, are you still here? If so, please raise your hand. Kevin, we have?
Kevin gets Lewis Skinner Botanical Garden passes.
Okay, great, thank you. Design Tech, Jim Bandoline. Are you still here? Jim, you are still here.
You get free golf lesson from Bobby Lopez with video analysis.
Wow. Jim, how's your golf game? Good? Is it already good?
It's going to be better.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I'd take several. I would take several. I don't know if Bobby Lopez has enough time on his hands to help my golf game. Meg, I think Meg has already left. Meg Downs, I think Custom Kitchens, I think she's left. I think she left her card to get Nat's presentation, so she is not here. Denise Hatton with McGeorge. Are you still here, Denise?
Okay, you get a Time Smash umbrella and a free admission to the next First Friday Forum for from the Retail Merchants Association in September.
Great. Always great speakers at the First Friday Forum. I'm going to hold on to that. Thanks, Denise. Okay, 1 or 2 more, and then the grand prize. Is that correct, Floyd?
Yeah.
Jean Gonzalez. Are you here, Jean? Okay.
All right, you get a Time Smash thermal bag and a Time Smash baseball cap. And now the grand prize, which is $1,000 worth of digital media. It's 75,000 run-a-site impressions on timedispatch.com and 2 days of any available newsletter sponsorship worth, like I said, about $1,000.
Tom Woodrum, are you here from STCJ Incorporated? Okay, congratulations. I want to thank everybody for coming today. I hope you found it beneficial. We will be sending out a link that'll give you all the slides, plus ask you to take a very brief survey and give us your feedback. Thank you very much.